welcome. My guest today is one of India's most articulate liberal thinkers. At the recently concluded Jaipur Literature Festival, he held center stage with his views on religion, on the ugly circumstances that prevented Salman Rushdie from attending, and between all that, with his new book of poetry. Please welcome one of my favorite conversationalists, Javed Akhtar.
Thank you.
Javed Saab, let's start with the good stuff, and that is a book of poems after more than what, 15 years? Lava will be your second book of poems after Tarkash.
15 years, more or less 15 years.
So thematically, for a poet, when you decide you have enough to put out as a book, how different is Tarkash from Lava, or Lava from Tarkash?
Well, like Tarkash, Lava is also a collection of my poems that I have written over so many years.
Yeah.
Poems and ghazals. And obviously they are on different topics, so it's a kind of a eclectic collection of my poems and ghazals. Now, when I look back, it was not intentional, but when I give it a second look, I realized that there is a difference. Tarkash was my first Peshkash, and there was a lot of nostalgia in it. Thinking of the childhood and the house that I had lived in my childhood, and mother, and so on and so forth. Now, perhaps the poetry has taken one step forward. It's much more objective. It's looking around instead of looking back. And although even Tarkash had poems about social injustice or women's emancipation or time, but in this book I feel that this is more dominant than the personal reflection.
The book will be available in bookstores in a week, 2 weeks' time. You read out some poems there, and I was very moved by this poem called Asu. Instead of keeping it for the end, I want you to quote from that poem, because you have a prodigious memory. You know everything, everything you've written and read.
I remember all my poetry by heart, so I don't have to read it out. आंसू, किसी का गम सुन के मेरी पलकों पे एक आंसू जो आ गया है, ये आंसू क्या है? ये आंसू क्या एक गवाह है मेरी दर्दमंदी का, मेरी इंसान दोस्ती का? ये आंसू क्या एक सबूत है मेरी जिंदगी में खुलूस की एक रोशनी का? ये आंसू क्या ये बता रहा है कि मेरे सीने में एक हसास दिल है, जो कि किसी की दिलदोज दास्तां जो सुनी तो सुन के तड़प उठा है, पराए शोलों में जल रहा है, पिघल रहा है। मगर मैं फिर खुद से पूछता हूं, ये दास्तां तो अभी सुनी है, ये आंसू भी क्या अभी ढला है? ये आंसू क्या मैं ये समझूं पहले कहीं नहीं था? मुझे तो शक है कि ये कहीं था। ये मेरे दिल और मेरी पलकों के दरमियान एक जो फासला है, जहां ख्यालों के शहर बसते हैं और ख्वाबों की तुरबतें हैं, जहां मोहब्बत के उजड़े बागों में तलखियों के बबूल हैं और कुछ नहीं है, जहां से आगे हैं उलझनों के घनेरे जंगल, ये आंसू शायद बहुत दिनों से वहीं छुपा था। जिन्होंने इसको जन्म दिया था वो रंज तो मसलहत एक्सपीडियंसी, वो रंज सरोज, जिन्होंने इसको जन्म दिया था वो रंज तो मसलहत के हाथों न जाने कब कत्ल हो गए थे। तो करता फिर किस पे नाज आंसू कि हो गया बेजवाज आंसू, यतीम आंसू, यसीर आंसू, न मौत बर था न रास्तों ही से बाखबर था। तो चलते चलते वो थम गया था, झिझक गया था, ठिठक गया था। इधर से आज किसी के गम की कहानी का कारवां जो गुजरा, यतीम आंसू ने जैसे जाना कि इस कहानी की सरपरस्ती मिले तो मुमकिन है राह पाना, तो एक कहानी की उंगली थामे उसी के गम को रुमाल करता, उसी के बारे में झूठे सच्चे सवाल करता, ये मेरी पलकों तक आ गया है।
Javed Saab, this is one of the most profound thoughts I have heard in recent times, and it is so beautiful.
Thank you.
I wish I could express my appreciation more eloquently, but I think you've understood how impactful that poem is. You know, I saw the response that you poets, authors got at the Jaipur Literature Festival. When you were there, when you look around and you see intellectuals, liberals, we hope, book lovers, if not anything else, do you feel a sense of, you know what, everything is right with the world, there is hope?
I don't feel that everything is right with the world. Things are so wrong with the world that they even start reflecting on these occasions also. But there is hope. Yes, there is. We should never lose hope. As a matter of fact, what is happening, Anuradha, and it's a matter of extreme concern. And I am afraid that nobody is bothered about it. And people who matter, people who can make a difference, are totally unconcerned, indifferent, unaware perhaps. While on one hand we are moving forward materially, I mean the standard of living of urban middle class has gone up by miles, I can say. But somewhere we are losing something, that is aesthetics, culture, tradition, tolerance and tehzeeb. We are totally disconnected with the literature, with the folk music, folk dances, poetry.
To take this thought further, the Hindi movies or the movies in general, something you know better than most people, are the most potent and obvious form of culture, isn't it? Would you put this charge at the door of cinema? That culture today, if you're saying, is diluted.
Cinema sometimes, I'm afraid, is given the kind of compliment or respect that it hardly deserves. I wonder if cinema is that powerful. As a matter of fact, because ultimately it's a commercial endeavor, people who are making film are looking toward the society, and they are looking at the society, what do they want, and there is a kind of a desperate salesmanship there. So it is the society that is governing the cinema. When the middle class was educated, tradition bound, had some kind of connect with the rural India, you had films like Dobhi Ka Zameen and Mother India or Ganga Jamna, or jis desh mein Ganga bahti hai. When the middle class became totally indigenous, without any connection with rural India vanished. When the language changed in society, the language of cinema also changed.